Hey everyone, welcome to Reddit Readout. Today we are checking out Confession. Story 1. I received $2,000 from an unknown source and kept it. A few months back, one day, randomly I got a notification that there's a new transaction and someone sent $2,000, equivalent in Mu currency, into my account. Now, getting this much money isn't too unusual for me, but according to my knowledge, no payment was lined up at that time. I simply left it like that in the wait that someone would reach out to me and tell me they accidentally sent me that instead of someone else. So I just left it like that and forgot it. About 3 weeks later, when I checked my account, that money was still there and I recalled how I got it. So I called my bank and asked them how the transaction was made. They said it was transferred through the mobile app, but they can't share the account details. I said okay and hung up the call. I waited one more week, and when no one reached out to me, I simply started considering it mine. Although I haven't spent it, they're still in my account even after like 5 months. Story 2. I stole a set of keys and caused an incident because of my fragile mind. I really need some advice here. When I was around 16, I was not in a good mental state at all. I had undiagnosed G.A.D and ADHD, would get easily violent due to my addictive behaviors. I grew up with a rough childhood. I was visiting my half-brother's place. My mom was there, we had long history, the stepdad, and us. We'll call him Lou. My mother was living with him for almost a year since she had no other place to go. My mother had to endure abuse from Lou and his workers that he would hire. This was a constant thing for years on end every time my mother would visit him. Yet I got furious with Lou seeing this behavior with my own eyes. I created a setup to have an excuse to beat him. I took his set of keys that was hanging off the front door. I hid it in my backpack, and a few minutes later, he noticed his keys were gone. In short, by the minute he grew angrier, ended up shouting at my mom. I grabbed a metal bat I was keeping around, and swung it over his head 2 times. My mom and I were not attacked before or after, so I feel guilt as it wasn't an act of self-defense. Just violence. I ran through the back door and into the woods, stayed out there for hours until I finally found my way back. My mother and we ended up leaving, right before Lou just arrived from the ER. I don't know why, but I ended up taking his keys with me. To this day, I haven't gotten in trouble or charged with assault/theft. I wish I didn't do such actions, and live with such unresolved trauma. I wish my brother never witnessed nor become a victim of an abusive household. I want to set things right, I want to return his keys, discreetly of course. Yet another part of me wants to directly apologize to Lou and confess my wrongdoings. I haven't been the same ever since. Needed SSRI, which I am still on. I have yet to talk to a therapist about this incident. In reality, I don't want to end up going to jail for confessing and having a permanent record on me. Sorry for my English. Edit. Thank you all truly. I think to close off this trauma for good, I'm going to get rid of the keys, stop feeling guilt about the situation via forgive myself, and of course talk to a therapist about this ASAP. 3. Story 3. I chased my sister around with a knife when I was younger. I mixed reality with fantasy. I had watched a zombie movie and basically replaced my sister with a zombie. I'm glad I didn't swing the manchette. Story 4. Up until age 910 I would bite the ends off baguettes at the store. When I was a kid, whenever we would go to the grocery store I would go to the bread section and covertly bite the ends off of the baguettes. My parents never found out and the stores never caught me. I only stopped because my sibling caught me, but they didn't tell. Story 5. I've been drinking to get through work for the past 2 months. I've had an issue with alcoholism in the past and I'm not even supposed to be drinking in the first place. Today though was too much for me and I cried in the bathroom. I'm not supposed to be intoxicated at all at my job and I just feel really guilty about it. I feel really weak and pathetic for being unable to handle working like a normal person. Story 6. Shoplifting from Sephora and ULTA, in need of assurance. Firstly, I wanted to say this all happened spring freshman year when I was 14 and still am 14, also for context I live in one of the biggest cities in the US. Me and my friends would shoplift from ULTA and Sephora and we would continuously get away with it. We went about 3 or 4 times in total this year to this one Sephora location and only one time to this other Sephora location. I would take around 3 to 4 things each time. And for ULTA I would take a couple cheaper things for the couple times we went, not too many times. I haven't shoplifted from these places in almost 4 months. I went to the mall with my friends last week and they stole but I didn't. I genuinely feel so guilty and I felt the need to stop. I am only 14 and I just want to be a normal customer again and be innocent and all of that. I was never caught. However, when I went to the mall with my friends recently, which I did not steal, they were suspicious of one of my friends and I have not been to the ULTA in 4 months BC. I felt like they knew. Anyway, I just wanted to confess this and ask if you guys think I'm safe. Shoplifting from makeup stores is a trend for teenage girls in my big city, so I know it's quite common and I never got caught. Do y'all think they would investigate me specifically? Please, no hate. Story 7. I dropped out of college without telling my parents who were paying my tuition. I'm currently a truck driver and have been for over 5 years now. I really enjoy my career and make over $100,000. I've always loved trucks as a kid, but I knew that my parents wouldn't approve of it. They were always pressuring me about grades and college, which I agree are important, but they pushed it as the one and only path. I started working part-time at FedEx during my senior year of high school as a warehouse worker and continued the job when I went off to college. I lied to my parents, who were paying my tuition, that I was taking summer classes and that I got a scholarship to cover those classes. But it was really a truck driving program at a nearby community college and that I was paying for it completely out of pocket. So I finished the year and dropped out without telling my parents and moved into an apartment close to the community college I was attending. I got my CDL and started my career driving for FedEx. And the rest was history. Fast forward. Shortly after my parents found out that I had dropped out and lied to them about my grades, were furious as they felt betrayed. But now they seem happy that I'm making my way in life and providing for myself. Story 8. I stole so much food when I was a store manager at a Subway. I worked as a general manager for a Subway about 4 years ago. They paid me crap and I couldn't afford anything. I quit after 3 months as I couldn't survive off the pay anymore. During the last month I stole so much food, and I'm not just talking 2 sandwiches here and a bag of chips there. I had control to the cameras and would turn them away from the parking lot when I did this, and the district manager never noticed as he rarely watched the cameras anyways. There was 15 stores in his area anyways. I would take packs of salami, pepperoni, lettuce, cookies, boxes of chips, etc., whatever I could eat at home. My food costs went up some, but I didn't care. My district manager didn't ask me about it until a few days before I planned on quitting. I had a meeting with my crew about watching their waste, knowing damn well they weren't, but my last day I took so much stuff. I went back the next Friday to get my check and the district manager didn't say anything. Nobody ever said anything. I probably took close to $1,000 in food from the store. Story 9. I put a baby mouse out of its misery when I was a teenager. Well, that's how I thought of it anyway. I used to go on these really long walks by myself, and one day on the railing of a bridge I saw something tiny that I thought was dead. But it wasn't. Maybe I should have left it. I didn't even know what I should do with it. But I picked it up and brought it home. Nobody was home that I remember. I sent a friend a photo of it online. I don't know how, but we both agreed that it wasn't going to live. Looking back, it could have been dehydrated as it was a hot summer day and it could hardly move. I didn't know any resources and my parents wouldn't have helped me save him by buying anything I could use to care for him. I was a stupid kid and I felt so bad for the mouse because it couldn't even walk or fend for itself. It's so hard for me to even say it. I tried to drown the mouse because I thought that was an easy way out. I didn't know that took time or wasn't quick. I was dumb. I think I ended up cutting its throat. I placed it in a stream. But this haunts me. Why did I even pick it up? What did I think I was going to do? Why did I think I should intervene like that? What the fuck was wrong with me? If this happened to me today, I would be looking for a professional. I would make phone calls. Anything. I'd even buy my own syringes to feed it if I had to. I wouldn't let it go. I remember feeling terrible when I did it, but like I genuinely had to, even though I probably didn't. I didn't feel good afterward. Story 10. I stole several articles of clothing from friends in high school. In high school, 4 years ago, I was struggling a lot with friendships and did some pretty terrible things, including in a few instances, stealing an article of clothing from my friends. I went to a boarding school and took these things from my roommates there. At the time I was angry, jealous, hated myself and my clothes, didn't have money, and I guess it all just built up. The guilt has come up a lot lately, and it's to the point where I feel unworthy of living. I am so ashamed. I feel so awful about the things I did. I can barely get out of bed. I can't believe I was such a disgusting person. I see a therapist but am terrified to tell them about this for fear of judgment. Am I a terrible person? I don't know what to do to stop feeling so miserable. I feel like I don't deserve to even be alive, let alone have friends or anything. Story 11. I lied about college for over a year, and this week, if not today, I'm being forced to come clean. I've always had a hard time with lying about school. In elementary and middle school I was seen as a gifted kid, but, especially when it came to math, I just wasn't doing the work or understanding the concepts. I lied a lot about my homework load, and every time my parents found out they'd get mad. In high school it was still an issue, and it made me nervous going into college because it was a habit I couldn't seem to kick. I just felt this need to seem smart, like I knew what I was doing, but when I didn't understand the work my brain wanted to just quit. At the beginning of college I was doing okay. Making A's, B's, and C's. However, I could slowly start to feel the burnout. Then COVID hit. I know a lot of people use COVID as an excuse or a fallback for mental health problems, but it's a big factor. I started to struggle with getting work in and finding motivation to study the material. I really did try in the beginning, but my willpower to try was fading. Then the guilt started. I kept telling my parents I was fine and that college was going well. I didn't want to seem weak or dumb or lazy. But the guilt from the lies ended up making the burnout worse. I ended up getting put on academic suspension for a semester and kept it from them, saying that I was still taking classes. I submitted an appeal to the school and got approved to rejoin for summer classes. My academic advisor warned me not to take summer classes since they are more intense, but I felt the need to catch up on credits, so I did anyway. Big mistake. I am now on academic suspension for a full year, the year ending this summer, and I still haven't told them. I keep telling myself it's not the right time or that I can hide it a bit longer, but it is now time for taxes and my mom needs my college tax form. I have one from the summer courses, but it's 1/8 what it normally is, and she's going to see it. I live with my parents and they pay for insurance, food, shelter, all of that. I am, however, working 2 part-time jobs to pay for my own college expenses, so it's my own money I'm spending. They've always told us that college isn't for everyone and that we can live at home for free as long as we went to college. I'm scared I'm going to shatter their hearts and trust in me. I'm super close with my mom and hiding this has been killing me for so long. I don't want her pity, but I also don't want her anger. I have no clue how this is going to turn out. I don't even know how I want it to turn out. I'm just so scared. That's all for today. Please don't forget to like and subscribe.